Welcome y'all to the Blackhoof Saloon, a Wild West Exodus podcast. Mosey on up to the bar and get yourself a bottle of firewater or a glass of sarsaparilla and listen to some good old yarns about adventures of law dogs, outlaws, and weird creatures. So set a spell, water your ride or your rider, and get ready to tune up your posses. This is the Blackhoof Saloon.
Howdy, howdy, Buckaroos, and welcome to the Storyteller Readings from the Dystopian Age, tabletop miniature games by Warcradle Studios. This is Eric here from the Blackhoof Saloon, trying something new and different for you guys. And today we have a reading, a vignette, The Storyteller, written by Sarah Cawkwell and read by friend of the show, Mac.
They say, the man said as he leaned back on the back legs of the chair. The seat creaked alarmingly under his not inconsiderable weight, but he didn't seem to be bothered. They say that Jack's abroad. You mean he's in another country? Who's Jack? The old man glowered from the first speaker to the other. No, you damn fool. I don't mean he's in another country. Watch your lip. And you, he pointed a long, thin finger at the second speaker, who looked uncomfortable at this sudden recognition. I'm talking about Broad Arrow Jack. He's out and about, on the prowl, so to speak. The chair tipped back a little further, defying gravity to step in and lend a hand. His audience were more enraptured by the precarious balancing act than they were by the content of his little tale. And believe you me, you ain't gonna want to be there when he arrives. Why, the tales they tell of Broad Arrow Jack, better than anything any of you young'uns read in those hack rags of yours. They ain't hack rags, Caleb. They're called penny dreadfuls. Dreadful's about right, old Caleb laughed, a hacking, wheezing sound that suggested his lungs weren't entirely engaged in the process. Regardless of any respiratory issues, he put his old corncob pipe into his mouth and lit up the tobacco in the bowl. A cloud of sweet-smelling smoke rose up and briefly obscured him from everyone's view. There was another ominous creak, and then, much to everyone's disappointment, the chair resettled onto all four legs. A load of old nonsense, filling your heads with made-up stories, and there's plenty in this world that's more real. He shook the match out and dropped it on the floor, leaned forward, with bony old elbows settling on the table. Where was I? Without really trying, Caleb had captivated his audience. A few others left their card tables and joined the group that was forming around the old storyteller. Jack. Broad Arrow Jack. A new voice joined the chorus, deep and resonant. The kind of voice that was so often described as chocolate brown. You were going to tell us about him. Caleb waved the pipe around expansively as he continued. Aye, that's right. Beast of a man he is. Huge. Head and shoulders above the average man, so they say. With shoulders wider than anything you ever did see. Goes half naked most of the time, showing off a life of scars. Wears them as proud as any soldier would wear a medal on his chest. And he's a cold-blooded killer. But the ladies, so they say, love a bad boy. The old man chuckled and spat up a wad of phlegm. And they don't come much badder. That's the truth. You have stories? The younger members of the audience were ever eager for tales of adventure, heroism, and daring do. Sure, I have stories. You got the time, the inclination, and say the ability to fill old Caleb's glass a few times, I'll be glad to tell them. I can tell you things that'd curl your hair. A bottle of bourbon was slammed down onto the table, and a huge, broad-chested figure took a seat opposite the old storyteller. Caleb looked up into the face of a cold-blooded killer and let his rheumy eyes trail down a body so scarred and damaged that it was hard to drag your attention away from it. Reckon at your prices that this'll keep us entertained for a while, old man, said Broad Arrow Jack. Start talking. His smile was slow and casual. His eyes assessed Caleb like a predator considers its prey. Because believe you me, I'm listening.
Thanks, y'all, for listening to today's tales. You can find the Blackhoof Saloon podcast on all podcast platforms, including Podbean, Google Podcast, and iTunes. And please visit us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And feel free to email us with any questions or comments that you may have at theblackhoofsaloon@gmail.com. Remember, gang, to always ride with the sun at your back and always roll those big crits. Take it easy.